So it's not every day that I suffer from FOMO. Generally speaking, I like different genres than a lot of people, so like when there's a game that everyone's playing and I'm not super into it, it's not a big deal. Mostly. That is until Deep Rock Galactic. Now, I do currently have a system that can play Deep Rock Galactic because I'm currently borrowing a PS4 from a friend. The issue is that I don't have PlayStation Online, so like I wouldn't be able to play any of the multiplayer aspects. I'm probably still going to end up getting it and trying it on there. I'm hoping that we'll hear something about it on the Switch too, because it can run things like that. But until a time that I can play this game, I really needed something to kind of satiate my need to be dwarvish. You see, I've been a huge fan of fantasy since I was a kid. Fantasy is absolutely my favorite genre. Sci-fi's cool, but I'm so much more about like dragons and magic and all that bullshit. That's why I played D&D. That's why I like Lord of the Rings. It's why I brew mead. All of that stems back to I like barbarians and castles and dragons and crap. And arguably, and I would personally say objectively, but I know that's not how the word works, dwarves are the best of all of the fantasy races. Dwarves are so fucking cool. A lot of our depiction of them comes from Norse mythology. In fact, a lot of our various fantasy species, races, ancestries, a lot of that comes from either Norse or Anglo-Saxon mythology. And a lot of the reason behind that is because both of those things really heavily influenced J.R.R. Tolkien when he wrote The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. But I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about this weird mobile game that I found on the eShop, Dwarf Journey. In Dwarf Journey, you play Galar. Yeah, like the Pokemon region. Galar is an elderly dwarf who has gone on adventures and amassed a treasure, and he's done everything that he thought would bring him peace, but as time is coming, he knows that he won't live forever, so he's kind of going through some existentialism. He hears about a cave that can grant immortality, and he decides to do one more adventure, and runs to this cave. That's it, that's the premise, that's the entire story. The rest of it is just procedurally generated dungeon crawling. In one way, it's very much, the map system at least, is very much like a Metroidvania. Like, it really gives the vibes of the old Metroid games, specifically in just how the maps work. The difference, of course, is that every time you enter the cave, the dungeons are completely regenerated. So you have an entirely new layout every time you play. I've put like 7 hours into this game and I haven't seen the same layouts used more than once, so that's pretty cool so far. You see, when it comes down to it, Dwarf Journey is a roguelite game. As you run through the different levels and kill monsters, you gain XP. You can use the XP to boost certain attributes. You also find new equipment that you can take to the blacksmith and have him improve. Each time you go in, you've got some new skills, like you're a little bit better at something every time you run in. So you can get a little bit further, a little bit further, a little bit further. It keeps that one more run mentality that you really need to have a roguelite work. I have said more than once that I'm not the biggest fan of roguelites. I really enjoyed Dave the Diver. I really like Balatro. I do not remember the name of the Ninja Turtle one, but I played that with a friend and I had a blast with my friend. I don't know if I'd like it as much by myself. I'd have to go back and try. But for the most part, the grind isn't my favorite thing. And I think where this game kind of changes some of that for me is that because every layout is procedurally generated, you have new options every time. You've got new, there's these weird runes that'll give you boosts during your run. You can find those in different places, or maybe you'll have none on a whole level one run. That sucks. But essentially there are 4 levels. Your first one is kind of a basic cave. It's got a lot of goblins. Your second one is a bit more lava themed. There's dragons and different kinds of lizard dudes. Your third one is called the Realm of the Giants or something like that. And it's kind of like a crystal cave. You know, you're getting deep into the mountain at this point. So a lot of your enemies are based on armadillos, like a weird armadillo monster. You also have these golem dudes. And then your final one just kind of makes me think of the Underdark from D&D, like just hardcore. Each level has a different boss. Every time you go in, the boss's location will be changed. The upside is that once you have beaten a boss, you will get a little marker on your map that shows you the general location of where the boss is. Eventually, you'll unlock the merchant, and he has a compass that will show you whatever the fastest route to the boss is. So if you're trying to hurry up and run so you can get through that you know, the last level, it helps you kind of hurry along. Personally, I like to resource gather, and I like to find all of the other little power-ups and boosts, so I very rarely bother using the quick way to the boss rooms. The biggest complaint I've heard about Dwarf Journey is that once you are done with one level, once you've gotten from like level 1 to level 2, the second level of the dungeon is a lot more difficult. Obviously, like that's how levels work, but because of that, all of the enemies in level 1 are a breeze, so you just fly through them when you have to go back, and every time you have to go through each level to get back to where you were. And like, to an extent, I get that complaint, but personally for me, going through the amount that you go through and then getting all of the, you know, the skills and the improvements as you go, and then going back and just burning through the enemies that used to kill you, I think that's kind of cool. It really gives you that feeling of just being a badass dwarf. Personally, if I was going to have a complaint, it would be that there needs to be more weapon options. Like, I know that this was designed to be a fairly short mobile game, but I want more. The only real weapon options that you have throughout are swords, knives, and axes. Swords and knives feel like an odd addition to me. Like, it's a fantasy game, so like people want swords and knives, but like you're a dwarf, so like I want the axe. What I really want is a fucking hammer, but there's no hammers in this game, so that's kind of sad. But I mean, it's a really fun game. It's got a little bit of platform elements. Like I said, the maps are very Metroid-like. So you have this kind of platformer with Metroidvania type maps, and then you get to mix in the fact that it's a roguelite where you're a dwarf fighting monsters. This is cool. This is a super easy to just pick up, do a few runs, put it down. I think for me, that's one of the big draws for this kind of roguelite, is that it's really easy to go through a run pretty quick, or to at least start a run and then continue what you're doing. Like, I'm fairly busy most of the time. Like, it takes me a while to find time to sit down and record one of these. And it's the same way with video games. Like, I don't always have time to sit and play like I'd like to. So when I have something that isn't super difficult to kind of play while I'm waiting for my kids to come out when I'm picking them up from school, or let's say I'm in the doctor's office and I'm waiting for my turn, like things like Dwarf Journey, Balatro, those are really easy to just kind of run through while you're doing nothing. Most games aren't as good at that, in my opinion. Like, I can take my Mario Game & Watch and play that anywhere I go, and it's great, but like, I'm not gonna do the same thing with like Odyssey. Like, it's not quite the same for me. I want to be able to sit down and really enjoy that kind of game. But other games, smaller games like this, like Balatro, like Dwarf Journey, these are ones that you can really just enjoy. And I mean, I really enjoy this one. It's certainly not the game that I was looking for, but it's fun, and I can be a badass dwarf going through caves and killing monsters. So what I would say to you, if you think this game looks interesting, is to sit down, put on a Windrose album, crack open a beer, pour it into a tankard, and enjoy yourself a dwarfy fucking evening. Rockin' stone. But anyway, I think that's about it for this one. It's a short review, but I mean, it's a pretty short game. If you liked this one, please like, subscribe, ring that bell so you can get all notifications whenever I upload. I'm Dogface. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching. Be kind to each other.